Dr. JC Cooley. That's right.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James C. Cooley, and I am so excited about the show today. I know that we're going to learn so much from this absolutely fantastic guest, and I'm looking forward to. How you doing, Dr. Mike? How you doing today?
Doing great. I mean, you think about this. Who doesn't want to be healthy? Who doesn't want to learn about healthy behavior change? And our expert today is going to help us do that.
I know she is. Hey, Michelle, I'm going to get you right out there. Todd, hook up all the platforms. And I tell you what, Todd, let's get ready to rumble 12 bags of popcorn. Let's do it.
Y'all, get ready. It's your life. Yeah. Your life. That's right.
Hello. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. And as you already know, 360-degree health. And the 360-degree health is none other than Dr. Michael Mantell. And Michelle, before I even get to you, Dr. Mike has hit another home run. I mean, I think this was a grand slam. And it's so much that I'm looking forward to this show with this guest. With Michelle, you're going to talk about it in a minute. It's going to enlighten, excite, and educate our viewers and listeners. So, whichever platform that you're watching this on, whether it's E360 Television, Transfer TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Rumble, the radio, K-Sky out of Dallas, KCBQ out of San Diego, welcome to the show. If you want to be part of this conversation, First of all, the easy way to do it is pick up the phone and call Todd at 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. Or whichever platform that you're watching us on, just go to the comments, ask any questions that you might have. I promise you I'll get you an answer. How you doing, Dr. Cooley? How you doing today?
I'm doing great, James. How are you?
I don't know. You sent me away with the flu.
You don't even know if you have the flu. It's probably just a common cold.
Oh, no. This is something. I'm telling you. I'm not joking about this one.
Well, you need to stay there. Not come home.
I'm excited about the show. How you doing, Dr. Mike?
Great. Just terrific. And wishing you health. We'll talk about how to get healthy and mind, body, emotion, all that with our wonderful guest.
I am excited. Michelle, can you do the honors? Can you introduce the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely fantastic guest?
Yes. Well, it's 360-degree health day. And the title of today's show is Why is it so hard to change behavior? How to be scared and do it anyway. So Dr. Michael Mantell and our host, Dr. James Cooley, they're having a sit-down conversation with Tracy George. She's a lecturer of psychology and health sciences, mindfulness teacher, health educator, yoga instructor, and leadership coach. She's going to talk about what exactly is health psychology and why is it an important subfield of psychology? Why is health behavior change so hard? How does mindfulness practice support behavioral change? And what does it mean to be scared and do it anyways? So again, Tracy L. George, lecturer of psychology and health sciences at the University of North Carolina, Asheville, where she teaches courses on health psychology, physical well-being, mindfulness and meditation, and health behavior change. She is also an experienced mindfulness teacher, health educator, and leadership coach with a proven track record of working with individuals, organizations, and educational institutions. She co-created and directed Yale University's first student wellness center, where she led mindfulness programs and provided coaching to students managing stress, anxiety, and other mental health challenges. She's a certified health education specialist, again, a yoga teacher, and a certified mindfulness instructor with expertise in motivational interviewing, mindful inquiry, and evidence-based mindfulness strategies. Please welcome to the show, Tracy L. George.
That's some applause. Thank you for having me here. I'm so glad to be here.
Hey, welcome to the show, Tracy. And just like I had mentioned earlier, this is going to be an education for many of us, and in a lot of different ways, because your curriculum vitae speaks for itself. And so I am excited to have you on the show. I always ask the first question, Tracy, can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit more about you, where you grew up, why you're so excited about what you do?
Yes, thank you. So I grew up just outside of Cleveland, Ohio. And I recently remembered, I had this memory of loving health and health behavior ever since I was young. I think I was in middle school or so. And I had typed up on our computer like a list of health behaviors to do that day. And I posted it above my bed when I was like 12. And it said, before you go to bed, did you brush your teeth, wash your face, exercise, drink enough water? And my parents come into my room and say, like, did you do that? Like, where'd that list come from? And I said, yes, that's mine. So I guess this passion for health behavior and supporting other people with their health behavior has always been with me. And I didn't know it could be a professional endeavor. It wasn't until I was struggling with a lot of chronic fatigue when I was younger that I realized if I ate better and treated my body better, I felt better. And that was a huge revelation to me. And then a few years later, realizing that Masters of Public Health programs were a thing, and I was really excited to pursue that. So that's really how I got into this avenue. I went to the Yale School of Public Health and then became a health educator from there and stayed at Yale for a while, and then moved into academic teaching. So I live in the mountains in Asheville, North Carolina now, and really love it. Love playing in the mountains and teaching in the classroom.
And you and I met not long ago, actually, at the American Society of Hematology, where we were both presenting to physicians, actually, who were in need of some education about their own health and well-being. Any comments about that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I really love working with people who are, physicians or other high achievement oriented or really high demand jobs, because there's so many little windows of opportunity to incorporate health and well-being practices. As at that conference, we had these 10-minute little sessions where you can really make quite an impact. If you say one jewel that stays with somebody, which I hope happens today in the conversation, we'll talk about a lot, but really when you find one jewel that stays with you and lights you up, that's the next thing to try in your life. So working with people who are in high demand professions like the healthcare industry, there's really a lot of opportunity, not only to support them, but then they can pay that forward to their clients and their patients. So you can make quite a big impact.
That ripple effect is amazing. When we take care of ourselves, it ripples in terms of the way we deal with others, and it ripples and we start to build communities that way. Let's start with health psychology.
Yeah.
Tell us your definition of health psychology. What is it?
Yeah, it's a good place to start, because when I tell people what I teach at the university, many people go, "Oh, what's health psychology? I know what health is. I know what psychology is." So health psychology is a fairly new subfield of psychology, really established by the American Psychological Association in the late 70s. And it's based on what we call the biopsychosocial model of health. So it's this understanding that we don't have a separate mind and body, but really an integrated system. So our health is an outcome of not only biological factors, but also psychological and social factors. And that all three of those factors influence our health, and our health influences those. So it's bidirectional. And so it's really the area of psychology that helps people understand their psychology, which is made up of behavior, cognition, and affect, and how that can influence health behavior, especially when people are struggling with either acute or chronic conditions.
So what role does a health psychologist play in promoting our well-being? Do people make an appointment to see a health psychologist? Do they see their physician? Where does the health psychologist enter into the care team?
Absolutely. And just as you said, they often are embedded in a care team where health psychologists will work with a hospital or a clinic working with patients with specific conditions. So often health psychologists will focus on one area of health. There may be health psychologists focused specifically on pain and helping people with chronic pain, or health psychologists who focus on working with clients and patients with diabetes, type 1, type 2. They can be pretty specific or quite broad. And individuals can seek out a health psychologist the way that you might seek out any type of therapist or counselor, or you might be referred to one through your doctor or your care clinic, wherever you're getting medical care. What's really wonderful is when you go to a hospital that has this coordinated or collaborative care model, where if you're going for treatment for a type of cancer, they'll also support you with health psychologist appointments with somebody who can really talk about what is the biopsychosocial model of cancer in particular for somebody and help them navigate that.
So when we talk about this biopsychosocial, big word for lots of people, biopsychosocial. Okay, well, how do I feel? Maybe this way the average person might bring it back down to earth. So how do psychological factors such as stress or behavior, or emotions, or spirituality influence our physical well-being?
Absolutely. So we hear a lot about this talk of mind-body connection. And I recently heard a wonderful interview with Dr. Ellen Langer, and she teaches health psychology at Harvard. She was actually the first woman to receive tenure in the psychology department at Harvard, just a rock star. And she approaches this as mind-body unity, because saying mind-body connection suggests that they're separate and that we need to reconnect them, as opposed to the system being complete already. Like my mind, we perceive it coming from our brain. Our brain is in our body, right? There's no separation there. So really it's understanding that, if I am sick, for example, if my immune system is struggling, it may not just be the biological factor of the virus that I picked up, or the bacterial infection I picked up from somebody. It might also be some level of stress that was putting strain on my immune system. It might be different levels of my social interactions. Are they stressful or are they supportive? So we can start looking at our health outcomes in this wide range of possibility. So it's not limited just to the biological, just to the physical of what we can see. But if I'm really stressed, that's going to have a huge impact on wound healing time, which is wild to me.
How about will it affect someone who thinks that he has flu?
Hey, hold that thought, Doc. As you see, Todd done popped up there. So we got to take a station break. But I tell you what, as you see, just in the first segment, I want more. And what we're going to do is take a station break. If you want to be part of this conversation, a couple of ways all you have to do is to pick up the phone, dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. Or go to the platform, go to the comment section. Any question that you might have, I promise you we'll get your answer. It's your life. And we'll see you shortly.
That's right. That's right. Dr. James.
A black man's
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Dr. James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life.
Using humor, wit, and engaging storytelling, James paints a picture about his arrival in a rural Deep South town and realization that life would never be the same. Cooley lays out his struggle to adjust from city life to country life and back again, sharing his hard-earned lessons to educate, encourage, and enlighten our next generation of leaders and heroes. Get your copy of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James J.C. Cooley, available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold.
Yeah. Come on.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, 306-degree health, and Dr. Michael Mantell, and we got this absolutely fantastic guest on the show, Tracy George, and just like I said in the beginning, Dr. Mike, that I think my wife sent me away from Texas a few days ago with the flu. And, I think she got a wish. Now, Tracy, Dr. Mike, you heard her say, I might need to stay here a couple of days longer, right?
I'll tell you what happened. James sat on the plane with the woman who was coughing and sneezing next to him the entire trip to California.
That'll do it.
All right, so let's talk about the health psychology of someone who thinks he has the flu, Tracy. What do we say to him? What do we say to this guy? I got the flu. Oh my gosh. How is he making you anxious and nervous about that?
Let me tell you something first. Normally, this is like my 800 or 1,000 show. And this is the first time that I'm sweating. I don't even know. At 7.5 years, this first time that I'm sweating. So
I've been for 2 years with him, and I've never seen him sweat. But Tracy, on a serious note, what role does anxiety or concern or worry that this could be something more serious than a cold have to do with the symptoms that our esteemed leader here, JC Cooley, might be feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. So, talking about this biopsychosocial model that we mentioned, that is the foundation of health psychology, there's a big overlap there between the biological and the psychological. So physically, what you're feeling in your body, the immune system, the pathogen you may have picked up on the plane, and also the psychological, which includes the worry, the fear, the anxiety. And because there's such an overlap here, right, there's no separation of the mind and body, it could be the case that there's a feedback loop between concern and getting sick. And, we don't know fully how this operates, but we know that there's possibility beyond what we understand of what can cause illness to happen, because there are a number of people on that plane. Not everyone got sick as far as we know, right? So when multiple people are exposed to the same pathogen or bacteria or virus, why is it that some people get sick and some don't, right? So we have natural variation in our immune systems, but it is possible that when we are really concerned, and we have not just concern, but extreme worry and anxiety, as you said, we can come back to talking about anxiety because there's a lot to talk about there. It can increase our stress hormones. So if we increase cortisol, which is not a bad thing, I'll say, a lot of people talk badly about cortisol, but really what we want, a natural rise and fall of cortisol throughout the day. But if it's peaking constantly, which can happen from even stressful thoughts, right? So we have these invisible thoughts that actually can trigger what we know as the HPA axis in the brain to release cortisol. And then we get that shaky, anxious fight or flight feeling, or concern or worry. So it can be a feedback loop, but we don't exactly know how.
And that can affect our breathing. And if you have flu-like symptoms, that is not something we want to happen. We want to have our breathing as healthy as possible. So, JC, you heard what the doctor said. Relax.
I heard what the doctor said, but since she said that, every time she said you could have this and have that, and every time it came out of her mouth, Dr. Mike, I got all them symptoms that's starting to happen right now. and she mentioned flight or fight, and so inside of me, that's where I'm at right now.
And this can happen, especially, there's a phenomenon with medical students when they're studying a certain condition in medical school, they can take on some of the symptoms and actually start to feel the symptoms of what they're studying. So it's really wild. We used to think that this was kind of a crazy thing, but we're learning more and more that there are real impacts from thinking about something that can impact our bodies.
So what you said, and you're dealing with a lot of students you're teaching, research and everything that you just talked about a second ago. What are some of the challenges that you as a professor teaching that you have to convey to the students, that it's not always fight or flight or fight? Sometimes we have to sit back and just have a change in our mind and mindfulness thinking. I noticed that you certified in that as well. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. I could talk about mindfulness for days. So one of the challenges, as you asked, that comes up in the classroom with students is, depending developmentally on where students are in their life, right? As we get older, we learn how to manage challenges more. And things seem less chaotic and scary as we move through life because we build the confidence that we can deal with things as they arise. Though that can be learned earlier and earlier, especially with mindfulness practice, which is really this built-in pause into any moment. It doesn't have to be a formal meditation practice where you're sitting in silence for 20, 30, 60 minutes. It can really be these moments of noticing, like I'm doing right now. I'm feeling the chair underneath my body. I'm hearing the sound of my voice as I'm talking to you all on this show, and being able to pause and notice. So really that's the key of mindfulness. One of the biggest things people think when they hear mindfulness or meditation is that they have to clear their mind. And that is probably the worst mindfulness instruction you can get, because the way that our heart is going to continue to beat, our lungs are going to continue to breathe, our mind is going to continue to think. And that's not really an issue at all. So we don't need to clear the mind when we meditate or we're practicing mindfulness. It's really just about noticing. And then when we notice, then we have a choice to move forward. And that's what we all want. We want choices. We don't want to have to be forced into one direction or another. And that's what happens when we're really fearful, because we feel like, well, I have to do this. This is my only option. But really, we get more choice when we are mindful.
So you talked about the misconception about clearing our mind and so forth and so on. What other misconceptions are there about this trendy concept called mindfulness? When I was a kid, the mindfulness didn't exist. My mother would just say, "Pay attention, Michael."
Right.
That was it. Pay attention. But so what other misconceptions do we have about mindfulness?
Well, there's one related to that actually, of this kind of demanding, forceful voice that we often hear, pay attention, or it's almost like be grateful, these things that we want to do, but it can also often be a harsh instruction. Really, it's about softening or being gentle with oneself and noticing whatever comes up. And when mindfulness practices were really brought into the United States and the Western world, really primarily in the 70s, it's not surprising to me that people really struggled with it, because we tend to take this American overachieving attitude to doing meditation perfectly. And, there's all these apps where it's gamified. You get stars for how many days you meditate in a row. And really, it's all much simpler than that. It's noticing. Like, everyone listening right now can be mindful by noticing the sound of my voice. Or if you're in the car listening to this, you can feel the steering wheel underneath your hands. So I think we tend to complicate it. If you want to go down the path of living the life of going to long silent meditation retreats, you certainly can. There's a lot of interesting texts to study about meditation and Buddhist origins of that, and all sorts of different traditions that lead to meditation and mindfulness. But really, it's much simpler and really accessible to anyone.
So if we want to integrate more mindfulness, awareness, and so forth into our busy lives, can you give us a couple, you mentioned listening to your voice, any other ideas or tools that you can recommend, especially for busy professionals and moms and dads who are running around doing all kinds of things? How do we integrate this when someone says, I don't have time for that?
Absolutely. And that's most people in our country, right? And probably most people listening, that you have a lot that you have to do. And so maybe if you want to get up early before your day normally starts and meditate for 10 minutes, that's great. But in all likelihood, you need those extra 10 minutes of sleep more than you need 10 minutes of meditation. So like you mentioned earlier, the breath. The breath is with us everywhere. It's here now. So you can even notice in this moment, am I holding on to my breath? Do I feel tight in my chest? Do I feel tight in my belly? And you can take this big breath, right? I'm even noticing I'm a little nervous right now talking. And so there's a little tightness in my chest. Can I take a big breath, inhale, like push my belly out, right? Like I'm expanding a balloon, and then sigh to exhale, right? And no one is going to know that's what you're doing. And so taking deep breaths, slow breaths, even different types of breaths where you exhale with a sigh or you exhale with an SH sound, which is one of my favorites, like you're shushing somebody. Those are ways that you can actually calm the nervous system. You can reduce blood pressure and heart rate in a very short period of time. And you can do it anywhere. It could be in the middle of a busy work meeting that feels stressful, where you can just notice your breath, take a few breaths, and then all of a sudden you're present.
So the idea is that we don't need to put on robes and sit cross-legged and, all that stuff. We can do it even walking down the street, notice a tree or something like that. One of the things that I teach doctors is when you go into the room with the patient, the door closes behind you, take one step back and let the doorknob hit you in the back as a reminder of paying attention. What are you aware of? What do you notice? That's mindfulness. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. There's so many of those little cues that we can use, whatever works for the clinician in question, like what is there in the room that can cue you. Take a minute, and that patient is going to feel your presence. Absolutely.
That's for sure. JC?
Wow. Yeah, you already know. Hey, my main man, Todd, gave us a cue. I tell you what, we're going to take a station break. When we get back, I am enjoying this conversation so much. I want to hear what my producer, I want to hear what he got to talk about.
Plus, I got a question.
And plus, Dr. Cooley got a couple of questions to ask. If you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is just pick up the phone, dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. Or you can also go to the platform that you're watching this on. Ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
Let's go. Dr. James, Tracy, Cooley, Listen up. It's Dr. James, JC, Cooley. Yeah.
Man's Point of View is the newest Amazon.com #1 release and bestseller book from author Dr. James J.C. Cooley, featuring the perspective from 11 other contributing authors. In A Black Man's Point of View, Dr. James Cooley unpacks his thoughts and personal experiences about the challenges, stereotypes, and feelings of self-worth that many black men face today due to a 400-year ancestry rooted in slavery and colonization. Yet, how so many black men move forward despite this history. Most importantly, A Black Man's Point of View conveys that all men, regardless of race, creed, or color, are capable of love, respect, and dignity. Described as a map to a greater life from the heart of a man who's experienced life's misfortune and harsh conditions, James shows us how beliefs, convictions, and a healthy mentality can help propel a life worth living. A must-read for all. Order your copy of A Black Man's Point of View by author Dr. James J.C. Cooley today from Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.
Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection.
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right. It's that time. It's your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley.
Hello. Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, just thoroughly enjoying this conversation. And just like, 306 degrees. Dr. Mike, you and I have been doing this for over 2 years. Can you believe this?
Yeah, hard to believe. It's amazing.
And you have brought some of the best guests in the world on the show. I'm talking about this is amazing. And you did it again. I can just sit back. This young lady right here, you can just listen to her. She mean business. I mean, she gonna educate you. She gonna teach you. She gonna inspire you. And hey, I'm enjoying this. But I got hey Todd, come on, man. Tell me what you think about the show. Do you have any popcorn left?
Oh, hardly any. A great show. She's got Tracy has a lot of energy. She's the only one. The radio listeners don't see you chair dancing, but she's the only one that matches your energy so far. Chair dancing, James. But no, it's a great show. And earlier she mentioned she likes to get out and play out in the mountains there. And I was curious. I like to hike here in San Diego. We're blessed with so many hiking spots here. How important is it to not only exercise, but get in touch with nature when it comes to mental health?
Oh, that hits right on one of my biggest loves and why I moved to Asheville, North Carolina, to be able to play in the mountains more. And being able to move outside in nature combines so many of the health benefits we know from both of those things separately. Like I could go on and on about the health benefits of exercise, and I could go on and on about the health benefits of nature. So when you're moving in nature with a friend, that's the trifecta. Moving in nature with a friend is Tracy's trifecta for well-being. You're really gaining the benefits of increased circulation. So anytime we're going on a walk or we're hiking up that mountain, we're increasing circulation, which supports all the systems of the body. Plus, we're getting natural sunlight in our eyes, which helps manage our circadian rhythm, which is a huge thing, especially for shift workers, people who are up late at night because of their jobs, including mothers. Mothers are shift workers. And also just the enjoyment and joy of being outside and seeing all the little details, right? Like being in nature really helps us be mindful because we have that childlike sense of, ooh, what's that? Look at that gorgeous flower, that beautiful tree, or noticing the differences of the seasons. That's a really huge part of this.
Wow.
I got to tell you something, JC. Of all the times we've had every week, week after week, I've never heard Todd ask our guest a question.
Oh, no, Todd.
Todd is asking questions.
I've never heard that question come from you. That's great, Todd. Thank you.
You know, Todd been my producer for 7 years now, and you know, when it hit him, he asked the question. Otherwise, Todd just like, let's keep it rolling. But obviously, something struck his attention, right, Todd?
Sir.
Okay.
We still got a couple of questions.
Oh, you got some questions, right?
Yeah, I just got one question. So, Tracy, mindfulness. What is mindfulness not? Some people hear about mindfulness, what it is, but what is it not?
That's great. And the first thing that comes to mind is mindfulness is not trying to pay attention. So I hear this word a lot, trying. I'm trying to pay attention. I'm trying to notice. I'm trying to clear my mind. And there's so much strained effort that then mindfulness is out the window. And so it's about, you don't need to try, right? You're already hearing my voice. You're already feeling the chair underneath you. You're already feeling the touch of your clothing against your skin. So it's, again, much simpler than people think. And so when you notice a trying and efforting that's so strong, that's feeling contracted or tight, there's a lot of ways to describe it. You know that you're in the zone of mindlessness, really, if you're pushing too hard.
Hey, let me add on a little bit. I like what you just said, because in a lot of things, when I'm on stage and when I'm teaching, whatever that is, it's three things that I always tell my audience to not do. Anytime you mention try, well, I'm trying to do this, that means you already gave yourself a way out for not achieving that.
Right.
And when you are talking about, walking down the street, having a good time, but it's always a negative connotation going to follow. But the car came by and almost hit me or something. And another thing, the other one is, yeah, I want to do this, but I can't because or whatever that is. So like what you just said with trying.
Mm-hmm. Right. And
I'm turning it back over to you, Dr. Mike.
All right. So I was just going to say, there's some music coming. Oh, okay. I was going to just comment about the role that what I call cognitive distortions, and others as well call cognitive distortions, and what role our thoughts play in our physical and even obviously our mental well-being. So JC just gave a couple of thoughts that get in our way. Can you just amplify a little bit more about how incorrect, erroneous beliefs affect our well-being?
Absolutely. And again, this used to be considered kind of fringe or not founded in reality, but more and more studies are coming out that show us the power of different types of thoughts or perspectives on our physical healing, the speed of healing of wounds, even up to physical activities or feats, like what we're capable of doing. And so I recently heard a study where a group of people were divided into two. They both had a very minor cut on their hand, and they both had a clock in the room. One clock was sped up and one clock was slowed down. Mm-hmm. And the people who were in the room with the clock that sped up, they actually healed the wound faster because they believed more time was going by. Now, this is not, again, fringe, woo-woo, anything. This is real experiences that when we're in a certain state of mind, it has a great impact on our sense of self and what we can do. And I remember this used to really tick me off because I used to be in a really tough, dark place. And I thought then I was causing my own suffering. And to some degree, I think I was making things harder for myself. But it wasn't until I started practicing mindfulness to notice what it felt like. If I was thinking poorly about my life or myself or my skills, I felt crummy too. So when we bring that kind of awareness, we can start noticing in ourselves. We can show ourselves the evidence. You know, people really want to know, does this really work? Just start observing your thoughts and then how you feel after you have certain thoughts.
I know you also work with organizations and you coach leaders and people, heads of organizations. So Tracy, what are some of the biggest mental well-being challenges facing today's leaders?
Absolutely. So it's really having the capacity and the choice to engage in practices like this, right? If you're in the mindset of I have too much to do, I'm responsible for too much, this isn't as important, it's actually going to work against you in the leadership role that you're in the community that you're leading, and the mission that you're trying to pursue. So it's really important that leaders are finding these type of practices that work for them. And again, it doesn't have to be formal meditation practice, or it could be, right? It's really important for each leader to find what practices work well for them so that they have this capacity to slow down, to connect with themselves, what are the right judgment calls to make, and that they can also connect with people around them. Because it, also we have research that shows mindfulness and meditation practice helps us connect with people. And if you're disconnected from the people that you're leading, your leadership skills aren't going to take you or the organization very far. So I'd recommend that first, if people don't have some type of contemplative practice or mindfulness practice, to see the small parts of their day where they can start to build that in. Another way is building it into your work. So the way I start and end every class with my students is we all take 3 breaths together. I call it an opening and a closing grounding. And leaders, right, if they're bold enough, if it's not part of their culture, if they're bold enough, they can bring this into their meetings. We're all just going to take a breath together before we get started. Or feeling tension rise in a meeting. Let's take a breath because I feel the tension rise in the room, right? Just as a kind noticing. And so you can also, as a leader, represent what this looks like to your team and start that trickle out effect that we talked about earlier.
So we've talked about mindfulness, mental health awareness, physical movement, thinking well, nature, friends, and so forth. This sounds a lot like the American College of Lifestyle Medicine pillars of healthy living.
Mm-hmm.
Want to comment on lifestyle medicine and what we can do about that? We have 2 minutes for this segment. Before we end, so we'll get into a little bit more afterwards. But how do you want to respond to that?
Absolutely. So incorporating lifestyle medicine is really the heart of the biopsychosocial model of health. And so many of the conditions that Americans suffer from and eventually cause mortality in this country can be prevented by a lot of these lifestyle factors. That's why we often refer to chronic disease as lifestyle diseases, because there's some control we have, not smoking, not taking in other substances, moving our bodies, eating well, whatever that means to us, exercising, connecting with people. So that can really help reduce healthcare costs. It can reduce our risk of being exposed or developing certain conditions. And that's, again, within our power. We can talk more about that sense of what is in our control and what is not.
Great. Thank you so much.
I like that. And let's pick that up in the next segment. What's in our control? Well, I think that's important because a lot of times we sit back and we worry about things that we have no control over.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, our viewers and our listeners, I'm looking at the numbers. They're looking good. If you want to be part of the conversation, pick up the phone. Dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. Dr. Mike did it again. We got Tracy, Dr. George here educating us. And I tell you, become part of the conversation because next segment, we're going to learn what's in your control and what's not. So I tell you what, we're going to take a station break, but we will be back shortly after the break with a lot more of Dr. Tracy George. It's your life, and we'll see you then.
Come on. Life. That's right. It's your Tracy, Cooley. Dr. Tracy Cooley. The Cooley Show. It's your life. It's the Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. Tracy Cooley. Yeah. Come on.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show. It's your life every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
Yeah.
With Dr. James J.C. Cooley.
Hello. Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Just in case you just tuning in, 306 degree health. We got Tracy George, but we got Dr. Michael Mantell. Wow, I don't even know what to say about this man. He's my mentor, my friend, and every week, he brings the best guests in the world to our show to educate you, to inspire you, to teach you, and to motivate you. I know we ended the segment talking about, and I know Tracy mentioned something about we need to understand what we're in control of. A lot of things we're not in control. But we still want to make a decision when we have no control of that, and that means that sometimes we need an attitude adjustment, because if it's out of our hands and we done did everything in our power to do what we're supposed to do, sometimes we have to let it go. So, with that intro to the segment, Dr. Mike, I want to hear what your thoughts on that first.
Well, I think that there is. Let me put it this way: if I say bump, bada bump, bump, you both are going to say bump, bump. Exactly. You don't even think about it. You just do it.
Not.
Right. Now. That we think, well, I had to because I heard bump and a bump bump. But we know that the stimulus, bump and a bump bump, and the response, bump bump, there's a space in between. That we control. What we think about these events. We don't control events. We control the way we respond, what we think about. That we have control over. And the more mindful practice, breathing, the kinds of things that Tracy has been teaching, the more control we can gain. The more reflective we are, what am I telling myself this for? That we have control over. So given that thought, it brings me to a question, Tracy. We know so many things that we can do for our health and well-being. Eat well, move well, sleep better, take not risky substances, socialize, faith communities, be more physically active. I said sleep better. But we know all these things, yet we don't do them. And we have thousands and thousands of articles and posts every day, and experts like you coming on telling us this, that, and the other thing. What is so difficult about behavior, health behavior change?
Yeah, and this can feel like the $1 million question. And
it is the $1 million question.
Right. And really where the rubber meets the road in the work that I do. Because like you said, most of us know that we need to eat fruits and vegetables and sleep 8 hours a night and et cetera, et cetera. And we hear those things over and over again. And it's sometimes it's a lack of health information of how do you eat well? How do you have good sleep hygiene? How do I exercise safely? Sometimes it's that, right? And when people are informed and empowered with health information, then they feel ready to make some change. Often there's some internal block that we have. And that's why it's really helpful to have this biopsychosocial model of health, knowing that there are so many reasons and that has to be respected and validated and worked with of why behavior change is really hard for us. And so one of the big things that people often say to themselves is, oh, I should do this, or I just need to do this. Those are 2 words I tell my students at the start of every semester to watch out for, because nothing is as simple as you should just try that, or you just need to exercise more. It's really needing to create the conditions for a life that allows you to engage in these behaviors. And the number one thing I would say above all is social support. If you have buddies you can work out with, if you have the accountability buddies, as I talk to my students about, if there's someone there that you can go on walks with, someone you can cook with, that is one of the most important things. This isn't just about willpower, right? It's not about pushing ourselves to the point of, I got to make myself do this. It's about creating the conditions that support us to do the thing that we want and need to do. So that's one way of approaching it.
Hey, I want to add something to that because I know you have emphasized a couple of times about a buddy going on a walk with you, encouraging you and doing this, because sometimes I believe when we try to do things by ourselves, sometimes we lose motivation. I know me. On my hikes, I do my little 5-6 mile hikes, and it's pretty much me. And sometimes I want to lose motivation, but if I have a buddy or a friend along with me, that pushes the drive. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that a little bit more? But also, before we even get to that, Dr. Mike, you know what I'm getting ready to do.
I know what you're going to say.
She is so extraordinary.
Just say it.
I want to have her back on the show again if her schedule permits. So
absolutely, I'm here for it.
Great. Well, can you respond to the buddy inspire push, because that brings a lot more of us out to reach our goal?
Absolutely. And the longest study of well-being has come out of Harvard. They've been doing this study for over 80 years of tracking a couple generations, 3 generations of people. And there's a great TED Talk on it. It's called How to Build a Great Life, or What Makes a Great Life. And basically the summary of this study is that of all the data that they tracked, of everything they looked at, the different types of jobs people had, habits, whatever, the one thing that was most consistently showing impact on long-term health is the quality of people's social relationships. And it doesn't mean you have to have a ton of great close friends. If you have 1 or 2 close people that you can talk to and rely on, it impacts your health positively beyond what I think anyone really would expect. So when you combine that and harness the power of that in your day-to-day life and have somebody you can talk to and exercise with, even if people aren't around, the thing that keeps me healthiest in my life right now is with my best friends on Zoom. They live in different states. We work out together on Zoom a few mornings a week. And I'm in the most fit state of my life because of those friends. If they weren't around and on board with me, I don't think I would be in the shape that I'm in. And that's not just because of my willpower, but because there's the sense of belonging, right? We are hyper social creatures. So if we can harness that, we need to be with people and we'll feel more of a sense of belonging, encouragement, and it'll be easier to do the things we're afraid of. Because as one of my taglines is, I'm gonna be afraid, but I'm gonna do it anyways.
Right. And so, obviously another tip, make sure you have social connections. And these are brilliant ideas. And I agree with all of them, of course. That's what we live. There are those people, though, who are listening and going, yeah, that's for someone else, or yeah, I can't do it. And I hope that if there's a well, let me ask you this. What do you suggest for those people
who think it's all for somebody else? I would say pay attention to how you feel, right? Because each person listening, you're going to be the biggest expert on your life. There's a great article at the start of the year by Oliver Berkman in The Guardian, and he wrote, forget about all of the health and wellness information and advice out there. Ask yourself, what's going on with me? What have we here? What have we here? Ask yourself that question about your life, and you'll be able to answer. If you're not really close with people, you'll probably feel that disconnection or loneliness. So
if you don't change, what's going to happen? And if you do change, take a risk. Well, I'm afraid they will reject me. They won't like me. They won't want to walk with me.
Be afraid and do it anyways.
That's your message. So if someone's feeling overwhelmed right now, what's the first step that you think would be wise for them to take on their journey towards better health?
Go on a walk with a friend outside. It doesn't matter what the weather is.
That's great.
Tracy's trifecta: move outside with people, even if it's one person. And heck, if there's no people around, but you like your dog, take your dog on a walk. Put your phone at home.
I think Dr. Cooley got one question, and we got about two and a half minutes before the show. Michelle, I think you got a question.
No, I don't have a question. I just want to say I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show today, Tracy. We loved having you.
Thank you. I love being here, and I'm excited to come back. We could talk about any one of these topics for hours, so I'm excited to keep the conversation going.
You know, we're down to the last 2 minutes of the show. Tracy, again, thank you so much. 30 seconds or less. Do you have any closing remarks that you want our viewers to take away from this?
Yeah. In addition to that, Tracy's trifecta of moving in nature with friends, trust yourself, right? The best health and wellness advice is going to come from you checking in with your own body and mind and seeing what works for you. If it doesn't work for you, don't try it. Try something else, and you'll find your way there.
Dr. Mike, any closing remark? 15 seconds.
Just want to thank Tracy for the brilliance that she offered our audience, and I hope that you, JC, will apply some of this and feel better. And Tracy, if people want to be in touch with you, how can they connect with you?
Absolutely. So I have a website, tracygeorgewellness.com. So you can reach out to me there, TracyGeorge, wellness.com.
Wow. Great. I want to thank you, Tracy, again for coming on the show. Dr. Mike, home run again. Dr. Michelle Cooley, you put together another absolutely fantastic guest. My studios, Todd, my producer, San Diego. Thank you. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners for tuning in to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and also on Sundays, AM 1170 Answer, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, AM 660 The Answer in Dallas at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back tomorrow, same time. It's your life.